I had everything straight. It's great to meet you. Where are you located?
Teaneck, New Jersey.
Okay, excellent. And you're originally from Brooklyn.
Originally, yes, you'll hear my accent regress.
Well, my dad was born in Brooklyn and raised in Long Island, so I've been in Kansas City my whole life, but I tend to have adopted that fast talk myself. So, but
All right.
it's still Midwestern. So it's great to meet you. I know that you are an expert on World War II, so I'm ready to peel back the layers and get into it. I don't know if you know that Kansas City has the only World War One monument and museum here.
In the United States,
Yeah,
World War I monument and museum.
Liberty
Is
Memorial. Yep,
is that a fact?
100% fact. In fact, that's when we have our Chiefs parades for the Super Bowl. It's right by our Union Station, and right in the backdrop is always Liberty Memorial.
How big does a memorial need to be considered a monument?
That's a good question. That's something we can Google. I'm not sure, but it's massive, and the museum is really, really impressive. And it's anytime there's a World War One commemoration, it happens here.
All right. Oh, you're trying to get yourself a big building too, so up and coming.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's leap to number two here. But before we get to that point, I want to know, how did you make it through the pandemic? I mean, the last time we had it was around the time of World War One. So how did you make it through this pandemic, and how did it change you?
The pandemic affected me pretty much like it affected absolutely everyone else. I don't think I was any different. I didn't lose anyone, but there were some close calls. But the children were bored to death and bored to tears, and we did our best to entertain them. I'm just another story of Americana as far as this goes. Um, and my takeaway from the entire ordeal is I thought that certain behaviors would remain, but I'm still surrounded by people who seem to be coughing up a lung at me. And I did not think that that would be a feature of society that would return, but it is. The Asian community is one that takes very good care. I don't mean to stereotype, but they take very good care with their own personal health, and they
Uh-huh.
they tend not to want to spread it to others. You see them in New York City when their temperature is 98.65, they'll put on the mask. Uh, but it seems like the rest of humanity has snapped right back to coughing in public and just barreling through and ignoring
Of
old
course.
warning signs and so forth.
It's
Very
the American,
surprising and very strange. I
yeah,
thought there'd be a takeaway.
yeah, it's the American way. It's wild, man. Um, so you remind me of what I do. You're a technologist by day. I'm an IT guy. I'm an IT technician for a school district by day. And then, there's a myriad of interests after that. So I'm curious, if I put you in front of a bunch of third grade students at career day, and one of the kids curiously said, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I fix people's problems.
Oh, okay.
Some
Okay.
people fix people's body problems, and some people fix people's mind problems. I fix people's computer problems.
So, but you have another side of you of being a writer and weaving together stories. What's that side?
That side is my 5 to 9, I like to say, and that side of me has been there since I was, I'm guessing, 6 years old. This is really all I ever wanted to do. I'm happy to share that 5% right now of the bacon that I bring home is from my writing, and I hope to make it 6, 7, 8, 9, and some really good number before I retire from corporate America. I would like to retire from corporate America because my 5 to 9 has surpassed my 9 to 5.
There you go. So, who's been kind of an inspiration for this passion that you've had for technology and stories? Who has that been for you?
Uh, Technology and stories. Technology and stories.
Just kind
It
of
would be
the
technology.
the 9 to 5 and the 5 to 9. Who has been kind of the hero or the inspiration for you to become who you are today?
It's self-driven. I wouldn't say that I have any specific guiding light. It's just um, Christopher Hitchens said, "A writer is not what I am; it's what I do." It's just completely and absolutely, totally the essence of what was his being and my being as well. I feel like my 9 to 5 is really just what I'm doing to pay the bills. But what I love to do when the grind is done, when the rat race is over, every 8 hour work period of every day, this is what I sit down and do. My family goes to sleep, and I wake up. I'm the last person in bed, and I'm the first person awake, and then this is what I'm doing during that time.
What was the story, the book early on in your life that you read that made a profound impact on you?
The first, my first, well, the Guinness Book of World Records is something that I read cover to cover. If I was to point, it's something that totally excited me. But that's not a book. It's not even a nonfiction or a fiction book. It's an unclassified book. Um, but the first book that I ever read was Stephen King's The Shining, and that imprinted. I was way too young for that, and that imprinted me immediately. And then I remember the next book was The Tommyknockers. And then I started reading Dean Koontz and Robert McCammon and everything in that genre before I became completely obsessed with all things nonfiction. I love reading behavioral psychology stuff, your Malcolm Gladwell, Daniel Kahneman arena of literature. A.J. Jacobs is my favorite writer as far as the nonfiction stuff goes. Mary Roach is a favorite writer. Lawrence Gonzalez. Oh, I can keep going.
Yeah.
But I have idols in every space of writing that there is, and there's always something I could take away from them. Um, I am currently working through. If you've ever heard of the 1001 books to read before you die,
Yeah.
so I'm up to book 124, and I'm going in chronological order.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to start Great Expectations by Dickens. That's the next book.
Okay.
That's number 125.
Beautiful. So, of all of the writers that are alive today, or anybody that's alive, if you can meet one person and spend some time with them, who would it be?
Of Stephen King, mostly because anyone else that I admire is accessible. Uh, Sometimes two writers that I like end up interviewing each other while I'm sitting in a Barnes and Noble audience enjoying what they're bringing to the table. That's definitely happened. But Stephen King lives on a different stratosphere. He's a completely inaccessible kind of human being, and I would absolutely love to pick his brains for a few minutes. He kind of has the same philosophy as Jerry Seinfeld. Don't bother me, but admire me and do your own thing.
Yeah.
Be successful in your own right. I gotta go deal with my family and hang
Yeah.
out with them. I appreciate your love, but let's keep it separate.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just keep going. So what is that? What is the motivation for you to be the first one up and the last one to sleep and to do all of these things in your day? What is that for you?
That is just it's my prime motivation. An absolutely voracious reader. I read 60, 70 books a year, which is small potatoes compared to the voraciousness of the people I admire. Gladwell allegedly reads 200 books a year, and any person who has got a book club is reading in excess of that even. So I don't even measure up, but I read as much as humanly possible. And whereas a person who likes music or their favorite band, it doesn't mean that they can suddenly pick up a bass and play it. But with writing, you are already halfway to being a good writer if you're a great reader. And being a great reader is the easiest thing in the world to do. Just start reading. So I always felt I'm halfway there. I admire all these greats. I've read everything that Dickens has to offer. I've read Jane Austen multiple times, and many other luminaries and greats. I'm already there because I admire them, and now I just have to put pen to paper. This is all that I love to do.
So what do you what's the latest work that you put out? What are you promoting right now?
So I wrote the latest work is the I called it "This Haggadah is the Way." I write parodies, Haggadah parodies. A Haggadah is the little book that adjoins the Passover Seder, and I seem to have found myself a little niche because for millennia, actually, it was really just the same book rewritten with some commentary from some sage or some luminary in the field. But parodies were produced beginning the turn of this millennium, and I jumped into that fray, and that's what I seem to be doing. I have a spirited competitor by the name of Dave Cowan, who puts out parody Haggadot, that's the exact plural, himself. And this is what I find myself very busy doing. Um, but I'm not a one-trick pony, and I try to do some important literature myself. So this is my most popular book, as
Yes.
you can see by the by the notes here. I reference them often. This is the memoir of my grandfather's World War II experience, and I'm working on a spin-off off of that. Stories told through objects that have survived World War II to be used in the present day. So there's a serious aspect of things that I'm pursuing, and there's a silly, and we try to keep them separate, and we worked our best to combine them. But this is what I'm busy doing, and I found myself a few niches that seem to entertain people, and they like to scoop up what I have to offer.
So, of all of these things that you've done with your life and all of these books that you've written, what are you the proudest of?
I'm the proudest of this book that I just waved at the screen in front of you, because it was a 19-year process to produce from beginning to end, from interviewing my grandfather about his life to enduring his passing, and then picking up the book after I'd established better knowledge of the publishing industry so that I could sally forth. Um, and 2 years of translation from the original Yiddish conversation that we recorded on VHSs. You seem to probably know what a VHS is. So a 2 year process, and I'm very, very, very proud of the work. Of course, I like the funny stuff that I've come up with. A humorist loves uh, his product. You know, the alchemy of ephemera into humor is something that any stand-up comedian or sit-down comedian, in my case, is very proud of, and we keep producing that. But this is my most important work.
So, of all of everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, colleagues at work, all of your readers, but you ultimately run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am?
Yeah.
Just a guy trying his absolute best to inhabit an industry that I admire very much. I want to be a player just like anyone else. Everyone wants to matter in this world, um, and I feel like I'm making inroads and a little bit of respect and a little bit of acknowledgement for what I bring to the table. I've got a healthy ego just like anyone, and I want to be loved. Would you rather be loved or feared? Said Marcus Aurelius. I would rather be loved.
So if we get off this call and a time machine pulls up in front of your house, you can go back in time and see one event or go into the future and see what's going on. Where are you going to go?
Oh wow. Let's see. If I went back to the past, you got to give me a minute. Nobody's ever posed this kind of question to me before. Let's see. My gosh. Am I going to try to have a conversation with somebody, prevent a world event from
No,
happening?
no, no, no ripples in time. You're just going to watch it. You're just going to have nothing to do with it but seeing it.
Let's see. Well, I did record in this book, Operation Barbarossa. If you're aware of what this is the largest land invasion militarily in human history, where my grandfather was front and center stage in front of that. It's the biggest clash in human history, and I would just be agog at staring at this. But now that the gears are working a little more, we can move off of dreadful world impact stuff. I think I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in Leonardo da Vinci's lab.
Yeah.
The ultimate renaissance man. It is a pleasure to watch somebody's gears work and create stuff out of thin air, and to be an apprentice or an intern or even just a guy sitting in the corner or perhaps posing for a statue. Who knows? I'm not that beautiful, but yeah, a person you admire. If you saw the latest Indiana Jones and the oh my gosh, I forget the
I can't remember either.
uh, oh my gosh. Am I allowed to Google? Is this
You can
is this
Google
an
it up.
open book test?
Google it up.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Okay, I
There you
got it
go.
before I even had to Google the Dial of Destiny. He goes back in time to to um, to um, to learn with Archimedes,
Yeah.
and just I love that scene where he goes back. It's just, this is the master. This is the master who understands all. And I would have the same feeling with Leonardo da Vinci, who's a guiding light to me.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah. And if I went into the future, my gosh, uh, this doesn't have to turn political, but I really would like to move into the future to see what happened to this world that has become very, 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 very polarized
Yeah.
everywhere, in every political arena, in every country, in every space. The world is moving all the way to the right and all the way to the left, and there are no human beings left in the middle.
Yeah.
And if I could come back from the future and say, guys, this is a problem. We've got to get back to the center because it really looks bad out there.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd be doing. I'd also be very curious to see if we actually get to inhabit other planets, just to see if what it took to get there, so I can shortcut the information and bring it to Elon Musk, who obviously will create all this uh, in the 30 or 40 years that's left of his human existence.
Yeah.
So that would be amazing.
That would be
Um,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'd love to report back from the front lines about what's going on in that regard. So as you can see, I always look at, there's something dark going
Yeah.
on that I'd like
Yep.
to caution people about, and there's always the light as well.
Absolutely. There always is. So if anyone wants to get your latest book or they want to be on the radar for the newest one coming out, anything in your world, where's the best place to go?
MartinBodekBooks.com. That's everything. I keep it updated and live and fresh and dynamic. And everything you're looking for anything concerning me and my 12 books, you'll find it right there. MartinBodekBooks.com.
Excellent, Martin. This has been wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your passion, your story, and keep doing the good work, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.